Hi darlings! Today I'm going to be doing a look that is focusing on the color Bondage from the Vice 3 palette. That color is that pretty kitty right there. It's a nice burgundy wine kind of shade, and it speaks to me. So I have a vague idea of what I'm going to be doing on my eyes. So I'm just gonna kind of go with it and see where it takes me. The first thing I'm going to be doing is prepping my eyelids with a primer. I'm going to be using a Painterly paint pot. I'm going to apply it with my lid, and then the next thing I'm going to do is prep my lid with Truth from the Vice palette, which is what I did in the Taylor Swift eye and what I start almost every single makeup with. So let's go and do that. You may be wondering why I'm doing my eyeshadow before my foundation. The look that I'm trying to do here is a very smoky look, and that involves a lot of dark colors, and sometimes from brushing it on the lid it can fall down onto the cheek area, and if I already have done my foundation trying to wipe it away, it can just become messy. So I'd rather just get the top lid out of the way, then do my foundation, and then complete the eye. So that is what the format is going to be. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use Black Track Fluid Line, and I'm going to lay down a dark base. I'm going to use this brush by Delium Tools. It's a 781 brush. This brush is a little bit fluffy, but it's still really stiff. The reason why I want it to be fluffy is I'm going to be using this black cream for the sort of second base, I guess. And using a fluffy brush helps me avoid having dark lines. This is gonna look not good when I put it on, but just bear with me. So I'm just, to pick it up out of the pot, I'm just kind of poking it in there and just getting a very little bit on the brush. So that doesn't look great, but it's fine because it's just to give more depth to what I am hoping will be a nice smoky look. I sort of brought it up a little bit past the crease. That little bump isn't going to be great, but hopefully you'll be able to blend it out with some shadow. So what I'm going to do next is I am going to grab DTF, which is quickly becoming one of my favorite shadows from the palette, and I'm going to go in my crease with the 217 brush. Most of what I'm doing today is with the MAC 217 brush, as is 99% of the eye makeup I do. So let's try to blend that out a little. I'm pressing the hardest right in the crease, and then I'm lightly swiping above the crease. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the 239 brush, I think. This one by MAC, looks like that. And I'm going to pick up Bondage, and I haven't used this shadow yet, so I'm just sort of exploring with what it's going to look like. I'm picking it up on both sides of my brush, and I'm going to pat it on rather than go back and forth. This right there is the reason I do eyes before foundation. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the 217 brush. I'm going to pick up Bondage again, and I'm going to try to blend out that crease even better. As you may notice, I'm also patting it down again on the lid just to try to get an even color. It's not really giving me quite as much of the purpley sheen as I would have liked. My thought process was that putting the black underneath first would make it brighter, but I could be wrong. So let's keep going with it. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a clean 217 brush and I'm going to try to blend, soften up the edges and the way that looks over there. So there's nothing on this brush. Helped blend it a little bit. My next order of business is going to be cleaning up my face and the edge. So I'm just taking a wet wipe right here. This is one of my best tricks. This is a great trick for doing a cat eye, a similar shape where it would be winged out. And in general, smoky eyes, I just sort of like doing it. So I have a nail on my finger. I'm going to wrap it around like this, get the point of my nail, and I'm going to make a sharp edge using my nail. So as you can see, you can either make it more subtle or a really defined sharp edge. The angle that you want to do when doing that is as if you were drawing a line from the bottom lid and a line from your eyebrow and trying to connect them. So that's the shape that you want to try to get. And that's kind of my rule for cat eyes as well, for how you want to point them. But I'm going to kind of smudge out the edge of that line a little bit because I don't really want it to be as harsh. I like how it looks softer. The next trick that I have is I'm going to be using my face powder, which is the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in Light, and I'm going to grab that clean 217 and I'm going to just grab a little bit of the powder. And you don't want to be too aggressive with this or it can make your eyeshadow look a little ashy, but I'm just going to blend up some of these edges and go around my brow bone. So you see how that really softens it and blends it. So the other eye. The highlight that I'm going to be using today is Shroom from MAC. And it is one of my favorite highlights. I especially like it with a smoky eye when you don't want something that's too bright of a highlight because that's super dark, it's super bright, and it just becomes a lot for me personally. So I'm going to use a clean 239 brush and do my highlight. The next thing I want to do is, I'm just going to experiment. This may or may not add anything, but I'm going to try the MAC Shadow Beauty Marked. is right here. Just sort of a burgundy black sparkly shadow. And I'm going to use this brush, which I forget where it came from. It might be a crown brush, but it's sort of a fluffy pencil brush. And I'm gonna put beauty marks right on my lash line, upper lash line. Darkened it up just a tiny bit, but it's not that intense. Still looks a little not great right here for me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go back in with the, I'm gonna go back in with Bondage, and I'm just gonna try to make that a little nicer looking. No, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go in with Decay and try to blend that out. Next, what I'm gonna be doing is skin. I'm gonna be using the Hourglass Hydrating Primer, the Beauty Blender, and MAC Studio Fix Fluid in NW15, as well as the Select Cover Up in NW15. I did a whole skin tutorial, so if you want me to talk through it a little bit more, feel free to watch that as well as watching this, or just watch this. I don't know. Don't let me tell you. I'm really covering my lips as well with the foundation because I'm thinking of doing a dark lip, and it'll help me make the line more precise later. So there's my skin and my face. I also used NARS Laguna and MAC's Dame on my cheeks with two MAC brushes, the 187 and the other one, the littler one. I don't know what it's called. So next I'm going to do the underneath of my eye using the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Black Velvet Eye Pencil. I'm going to sharpen it first. Also, the NW15 isn't the perfect match for my skin, but I'm not really going anywhere and I have it, so I'm just using it for whatever. So I'm going to do my waterline and then a little bit in with the lashes. Here's a fun trick. Trying to do your upper waterline is really hard. Sometimes you can just get the corner. What I like to do is this, which kind of gets both if you close your eye around the pencil. I'm really bad at doing my upper waterline, but kind of got it a little bit. I'm also going to try to get right in the inner upper waterline. makes a difference. So next I'm going to use Bondage on my lower lash line. And I'm going to use the 239 brush again. The one thing that I found about the Urban Decay shadows is that they're a little, there's more fallout. So when you're doing it on your under lower lash line, kind of gets in your eye, which doesn't feel awesome. So I'm going to switch to the 210, the pencil brush, because it's a little stiffer and I want less fallout in my eyeball. And I'm going to be extra careful to tap all the extra off. As you can see, it's getting all up in my eye. It's a real bummer for this shadow that I was really excited to use, but let's just keep going with it. It looks a little messy under there, so I'm going to try to clean it up with some powder and a flat concealer brush. I'm also going to bring my highlighter into my inner underlid spot. I think this one's better. This is a little weird. Next we're going to do eyebrows. What I'm going to be using, maybe I should back it up so you can see the look. This is the look so far. Next one I'm going to be using for my eyebrows is I'm going to be using the Deep Dark Brunette brow gel from MAC with the eyebrow brush, the 266 brush. First, what I like to do is I like to kind of outline the shape of my eyebrow and then fill in the middle. It's a really intense eyebrow. Then I'm going to clean that up with some powder. I'm going back in with a touch of foundation on this intense brow that got a little out of hand. That one looks better than that one. Oh well. So I took my hair down because I had to charge my battery a little bit, so I messed with my hair a bit. But what I'm going to do right now is my eyelashes, MAC false lashes, I'm going to curl them with the fire the way that I like to. So for my lips, I'm going to use Currant Lip Pencil by MAC. One good thing to do is always sharpen your pencil before. Even if it looks pretty sharp like this, you always want to sharpen it before to get the cleanest line possible. And it also doesn't hurt to sharpen it partially through the application as well. Don't forget to breathe when you're doing a tight lip liner. Something I like to do is fill in a little bit of the lip to help whatever lipstick I use afterwards stay longer. I'm going to be using the Colored Raine liquid lipstick or lip paint in Raine Fever. I just did that because I put a lot of product on and I wanted to move it around. I love this lip stuff because it dries like instantly. One thing I forgot to do that I'm going to do now is I'm just going to add a little bit of a highlight with the Hourglass Ambient Light Palette. And I'm just going to use a small fluffy brush. This is MAC 286. So that is the end of my Bondage Witchy look. And thanks for watching. I hope you liked it. Hope it was a good time for you. And yay.